Hello, free people of the Rocky Mountain region. This is Brandon from Free State, Colorado, and we have yet another vacancy appointment down at the state capitol. That's right, a state senator resigned, and political insiders picked one of their own to follow suit, serving down at the state Senate. So you probably saw this in the news. It's all over everywhere. But of course, the big story, one of the big stories here is that Senator Sonya Jaquez Lewis is under investigation by the Denver DA's office and the Boulder County DA's office for fraudulently writing a letter in support of herself. It seems that's at least the allegations. But Senator Sonya Jaquez Lewis was under an ethics investigation down at the state capitol and resigned because she had mistreated her legislative staff. It seems she was having them work on her lawn, apparently not very politely, not very kind to them, but she's in some trouble there. So she resigned. Makes perfect sense, right? She shouldn't be serving in this capacity if she can't work with her staff. But of course, who did they pick? Who did they pick to replace her? Well, Boulder County Democrats choose Katie Wallace to replace former Senator Jaquez Lewis. So this just came out. There she is right there. Katie Wallace, somebody you've probably never heard of, but if you're an insider in Colorado Democratic Party politics, you probably have seen Katie around. So they go through here. She won with 58.78% of the vote. So definitely a landslide victory there in this vacancy committee process. 114 party insiders in the Boulder Democratic Party decided who is going to be serving down at the state legislature. So when you think about it, there's 114 members voting in this vacancy committee. 60% of them voted for her. So when you think of it that way, what do you got? 65 or so people decided to put this woman in the state legislature. Totally undemocratic, totally against this nature of representative government. Party insiders picking one of their own. And let's see what she says about her, what they say about her here in this article. Wallace said every day, oil and gas pollutes the air, and we must stand up for our future, for stronger regulations, and for renewable energy. She's a renter and says she will fight for affordable housing. Wallace also noted the $1 billion budget shortfall and said she will fight to preserve funding for Medicaid, food assistance, and childcare, and fight against the disastrous effects of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. Tabor. Wow. So bad news there. I mean, of course, this lady's from Denver or from Boulder, excuse me. Now she's going to Denver, but definitely, of course, one of those leftist types up there. But let's dig in a little bit deeper here. Let's look at her LinkedIn. So who is this woman now that is representing tens of thousands of people in our state government? Well, she describes herself on her LinkedIn as a dedicated campaign and government staffer. So there you go. She has done that. But let's take a look at her experience. We'll go ahead and look at all of her 15 different experience things there. Let's go way back. Let's go way back. Let's see what kind of experience this woman's going to bring to our state government. Well, let's see here. Field organizer for Obama for America there. She did that for 6 months back in 2012. One of her first jobs she's ever had was working to try and get President Obama reelected out in Erie and Lafayette. So there you go. Comprehensive immigration reform organizer for 2 months. A campaign manager for a state rep Mike Foote. Did that for a year. Worked for Joe Neguse, congressman there as a finance director out there. She did that for 7 months to help him with his fundraising around Colorado to get him elected to Congress. A legislative aide for 3 years for Representative Mike Foote down there. So definitely a party insider, definitely a legislative insider. The reality is this lady does not represent the people of her community. I mean, that's the reality of it. She represents the political class, and that's who she's going to be serving and the agenda she's bringing to the state capitol. Gold Hammer for Colorado State House. Worked on that person's campaign for a year. Don't know who that is. They probably didn't win. Jonathan Singer, gosh, that guy was a nightmare. Worked on his campaign for 6 months. Wow, that's bad news. Deb Gardner for Boulder County Commissioner. Joe Neguse, field director for a year. Colorado Youth Vote Director, Biden for president for 4 months. There she goes, trying to get Biden elected back in 2020. Legislative assistant there for Joe Neguse for Congress for 2 years. So, wow. worked at Stanford for 2 years, and then district director for Yadira Caraveo. So no wonder Katie Wallace is looking for a job here. Congresswoman Yadira Caraveo, of course, lost in 2024, and then for the last 9 months has been the executive director of the Democratic Senate Campaign Fund. So that's huge. I mean, that's part of this insider baseball of who is fundraising, spending money, and getting these senators elected on the Democratic side. So Katie Wallace is as insider as it gets. Everybody down there is going to know her. But let's take a look at her issues. So here's her little website here she put together for running for this vacancy position. So her priority is climate change. It's the existential crisis of our lifetimes. Of course, she's going to be going after oil and gas with this bold action, this green economy. Yeah. I mean, bad news there, right? I mean, anybody who understands what's actually going on with that whole agenda is probably gagging right now. Housing, affordable housing, zoning reform, tax credits, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be a lot of stuff there. The economy, of course, some glad-handed statements about affordability, standing up for working class. Really no explanation of what that's going to mean, what that means. Childcare, of course, more tax money for childcare, I'm sure. Reproductive freedom. She was raised by a nurse who worked at Planned Parenthood. So abortion is healthcare, of course, is her little rallying cry there, I'm sure. Colorado must do everything it can to preserve and expand access to reproductive healthcare, aka abortions, and all the people who come to our state to seek abortions there. So there you go. LGBTQ rights, the LGBTQ community, in particular, the trans community is under attack from MAGA extremists. MAGA extremists, of course. So she wants to have life-saving, gender-affirming care, including young people. So keep those transgender surgeries going on for small children under Katie's watch here. Healthcare, expanding Medicaid, of course, government-run healthcare schemes, all about it. But I mean, you can imagine who this person is. She supports Senate Bill 3, the worst gun ban in Colorado history. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a bolder Democrat. Of course, she's going to be thinking these things. But of course, MAGA extremists. I mean, this lady's going to be a nightmare down at the state capitol. Here's an old tweet of hers. Tech companies are becoming the new monopolies, tech monopolies like Amazon, Google, and Facebook. The time is now for attorney generals and other antitrust regulators to scrutinize their practices more closely. Tagging Phil Weiser there. Here's a picture of her with Nancy Pelosi. Path, great post here. This is Shad Marib, who's the Democratic Party director there, just appointed to the state legislature, another far left progressive activist who will rob you of your rights, groom children, protect criminals, and slaughter unborn babies. And yeah, 100%. I mean, well said there. But unfortunately, folks, this is who we got down at the state capitol. And just wanted to let you know, another far left extremist, another political insider, somebody who spent their entire life, entire career working in politics with no real world experience, going to be representing her community of the Boulder, Longmont area down there, down at the state capitol. So bad news, folks, but just wanted to keep you up to date, keep you informed, and let you know just how extreme and how connected this person is. So we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.